Hello and welcome to What's Networking Got to Do with Self-Care? I'm your host. My name's Kim Ross and I've been a psychologist for just over 15 years. A little bit about me. I'm a solo practitioner, have 3 children, and connection is a huge thing in my life. I experienced lots of breaks in connection growing up. I moved multiple times and went to many schools. I also experienced bullying, both at school and even as an adult, and even as a psychologist. So helping people, and particularly mental health practitioners, increase their sense of connection is a key aim of mine. Just briefly, in May 2018, I founded the Victorian Psychologist Networking Group, and I ran this for around 4 years, and largely it was due to wanting to help, repair what I saw as a divisive crack, running through the psychology profession. And I can't say that the VPNG has fixed that. However, I do know that particularly while the group was running during COVID lockdowns, particularly here in Melbourne, it was a huge source of support, both for me and for other members of the group. So that's a little bit about how I got to here and what's networking got to do with self-care. Today, I'm asking you, what's your intention for this session? What do you hope to get from watching this? Hopefully you have got pen and paper next to you. If not, you can always stop this and go and grab one. And perhaps you've got the networking sustainability checklist guide. If not, that's okay, you don't need it. It just would be handy. We're going to look at 3 different purposes of networking and have a closer look at networking's function as a self-care strategy, primarily by its role in providing support and connection for you in your work. I invite you to reflect on where your current level of support is. I challenge you to think about how you provide support in your network, and I invite you to decide on an area of support you would like to strengthen. So on that note, what is self-care? We're going to look at what networking is, but what is self-care? What do you think of when you hear that? There are lots of definitions. This is one that I use. So self-care is about taking self-responsibility for your physical and mental health and everything that goes along with that, both proactive, integrative, planned self-care, as well as an ongoing checking in of yourself to manage self-care. And it's about choosing activities that protect and enhance your well-being. And why do we do this? We do this to create a sustainable career and to avoid burnout as much as we can. 5 foundations. And yes, there is a spelling error. Of course, there is. 5 foundations: emotional, physical, cognitive, meaning, and connection. And the last one, the one is I'm going to be focusing on. Physical, caring for your body, your underlying physiology, includes things like, checkups and blood tests and walking and eating and sleeping. Emotional self-care, understanding, managing your feelings. It includes deliberatory, I can't say the word. Fostering positive emotions with intent. Yes. Cognitive self-care, awareness of thinking, all those beliefs, perspectives. And it includes activities that reduce the impact of unhelpful thoughts and encourage, more helpful thinking, life-affirming thinking. Meaning, all about your values, what matters to you. Are you living a life that's consistent and congruent with these values? And let's have a bit of a closer look at connection. Feeling valued and seen starts with self-acceptance and self-love, and it flows through to connection on a unified field level. So we go from micro to macro, self, others, nature, and a higher power. It's huge. It's a huge topic. Here's a definition you may have come across, and you've probably definitely heard of Brené Brown. Her definition is the best one that I've come across. Connection, the energy that exists between people, so it's multi-directional, when they feel seen, heard, and valued. When you feel seen, heard, or valued. So it is about perspective. When they can give and receive, multi-directional, without judgment. And when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. So it's a positive. We're talking about a positive connection here. Sustenance, growth, nutrition. Let's keep going. And you know what I said, self-care is a lot about being proactive and understanding when you need this. So, when do you need networking? When do you need support? When are those crucial times in your life? Because one of the main problems with burnout and avoiding burnout and creating a sustainable career, it's recognizing when the stress is becoming too much. And it's hard to do that. It's a bit like the analogy of the frog in the boiling water. The frog's in the pot and it doesn't notice the pot getting hotter until it reaches that boiling point where it's too late. You get used to things. We all do in our lives. And you mightn't even realize you're not coping until you can't. So true self-care is about monitoring yourself. And that includes, knowing your signs and symptoms that for you indicate those early signs that things aren't working really well, the early stages of feeling isolated and lonely. It's also about knowing the situations that cause isolation and loneliness for you. So let's have a closer look at some of those situations. When you're a solo practitioner, working for yourself is an inherently lonely job. Differences. So variety and differences are great, and we'll check that out in a minute. But, when you're working in a situation with people who have different training, different education, different background, culture, worldview, different politics, they're at different life stages. You might be overwhelmed by differences. And these differences, you may feel the odd one out in these situations. Imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is a great place that many of us find ourselves in, basically nearly everyone at some point, where you're not feeling good enough. You're not feeling as good as your peers. You might be feeling a bit of a fraud. Isolating factors when you don't have anyone to share them with or people who understand what you're going through. Sitting in shame. You've made a mistake, you've stuffed up, or you don't know something you think you should. There are lots of reasons why someone is sitting in shame. It's a very lonely place to sit. Mental health challenges. These may be ongoing, or they might be situational or circumstantial. You might be in burnout. You might be being bullied. You might be experiencing anxiety or depression or grief, adjustment disorder. There's a lot of different mental health challenges that many of us, if not most of us, will face at some point or another. And once again, without support around you, it's a very lonely place to be. So those are situations. Here are a couple of signs. I've just picked 4. And they're a mix of feelings and thoughts. And if you're experiencing these, you are at danger of getting stuck in a loneliness loop because you think there's no one there for you. And sometimes it's not, but sometimes you just don't notice others when they're there. And then you stop making that effort to connect. It's not a happy place. that's kind of a little bit of self-care. Then what's networking? Here's another quote that I love. Networking is connecting people with people. It's connecting people with ideas. And it's connecting people with opportunities. It's so much more than just referrals. It provides a crucial role in terms of personal and business support and sustainability. Let's have a close look. 3 different types of networking. So this is the referral, getting your clients, then the growth and development, creating a strategic network. It's connecting with a variety of people, unlike you. You can reach out beyond who you already know because you're reaching out to their connections. It makes it a network. And it's dynamic. It changes as you grow. What a network you might have in one work environment mightn't be there when you leave that job. And then the third one, which is support, and we're honing in a little bit more on that, how you sustain yourself. So, oops, and we have missed one. Do you have a supportive network? Stop for a moment and just reflect. While growth and development is about structure and ideas and different information and inspiration and, connecting these ideas and opportunities and finding people who can help you, there's a difference with support. Here's an example. So let's take Steve. Steve works as a physio and he's a great referral and opportunity source for you because you work with helping people manage their pain. He might allow you to write an email to his clients. He might recommend you hand out your business cards. So he's a referral source. He's a bit of a source for growth and opportunity. But you're not going to share with him the doubts you have about whether you gave your client the right advice, whether you should, and I'm using the word should here on purpose, whether you should discount your fees, whether you should open on a Saturday morning, whether there's all these things, business things, ethical things, concerns, doubts. You're not going to share them with Steve. He's part of your network, but he's not a part of your support network. Support is more personal, involves a different level of trust and acceptance. I've provided a couple of checklist options here. And this first one is largely about practical knowledge based. Why these things support? Well, think about how you feel when you're stuck and you've got to check whether you were meant to write, back to a GP or whether you were meant to do something that you haven't done or whether you did something you shouldn't have done. There's stress. There's heaps of stress involved in that. But do you have someone you can check with? That your support network's working if it relieves stress for you, increases your self-belief, cognitive self-care, where you have a trust environment. Water required. So this may or may not be a supervisor, paid or unpaid, might be a peer, might be someone in the same profession or some work environment, or it may not be. But there's a reason why this is your go-to person. They may or may not be someone you would class as a friend, but they are someone you trust. Can you think of people who do that for you? Can you think of others that you do this for? I know I had a phone call last week from someone who went, "Oh, can you help me set up, online linking in Halaxy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I can help you do that." It's one of those tasks that sometimes you might think, I should know how to do that, or I should work it out myself. But hey, if you don't have to, how great does it feel to be able to reach out to someone and get that positive, non-judgmental support? So that's like knowledge-based. Another one is more, it's more relationship based. It is more, even more trust on a deeper level. Like in terms of, for example, here, who will hold you accountable? Who's someone who sees stress, your signs of stress? Who's someone who knows what you're working on? So, for example, I've got a business buddy, and I know if I go, I'm going on a digital detox, if they see me on Facebook, they'll go, hey, thought you said you didn't want to be on social media this weekend. No, they can hold me accountable about looking after myself. And that's a pretty damn important person to have in your life. So once again, do you have someone? Do you have more than one who does different things? Do you have others that you provide this type of support with? They're pretty important questions, and it's okay if you don't. So now that we've had a quick look at that, on a scale from 1 to 10, how happy are you with your overall level of networking support? Who or what is lacking? And remember, these can be paid or unpaid, friends, not friends, family, peers. And these are more likely to be people that are closer in a section of your network, because a network expands out. The 7 degrees of separation. Supposedly that everyone's connected to Kevin Bacon by 7 degrees of separation. These people, these in your support circle, particularly the last lot of checklists, they're really tight. They're in your 1st degree of separation. Right? Bit of time for discussion if you were joining me live, but some reflection. Do you need to meet more people, or do you need to deepen and explore the connections you already have? If you think there are people there, but they're not fulfilling that role, why not? Or is the reason you're not exploring this connection further? And then a couple of tips. I'm just going to leave you with 3 tips. And you're like, oh, I've got gaps. What do I do? My level of support is really low. What does that say? And it says a lot of things. It says that, you might have left jobs, you might be in a new profession, you might have just had one of these really isolating experiences, mental health, life transition. And there's a reason why perhaps your current vulnerability is higher, for the loneliness and the need for that networking and self-care. So here are 3 tips. So who's in your network that you might be neglecting? All right, it's time to nurture them. Are you in the right space, both online and offline? Are you in a space where you feel comfortable getting knowledge support to ask questions? I know some groups that I'm in, or I've been in the past, when I look at them and I go, oh, it's not working. Why isn't it working? Well, they're not matching where I am in my particular career. There mightn't be a good match of values. There might be just a really uncomfortable situation happening in group dynamics. So, get out of those groups and make the most of the groups you're in, both online and offline, where you feel comfortable and valued and heard. And lastly, but so importantly, it's multi-directional. Support goes both ways, and there's a balance. And we've talked about nurturing network members, but are there people in there who are draining you and it's not reciprocal the other way? If they're draining you, that is not supporting your self-care. It is not supporting your sustainability. Are there people you have to be tough with? Or maybe that person's can't provide you with the support, but hey, are they connecting you with other people or exposing you to different ideas or new opportunities? When we look at networking holistically, and those 3 things, the referral, the growth and development, and the support, it's often not possible for one person to fit all those things. You don't need hundreds of people in your close network, but being able to have enough people supporting you on your journey is important. All right. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You can connect with me basically all over the place. LinkedIn is probably a great place to go. You know, Kim Ross, I'm there. And you can find out more about me there. You can look at my website, which is Positive Young Minds. Send me a message. I do love connecting with people who share my passions, particularly, you know, for addressing loneliness and isolation in mental health professionals. You know, the world needs you. The world needs us more so than ever to be strong, to have sustainable careers in the mental health industry. And I'm more than happy to do my bit. So if you think I can support you in networking or self-care, I'd love to help. Just reach out. But until then, take care of yourself. And hopefully I will catch you soon in another recording.